The KwaZulu-Natal Public Servants Association has strongly condemned the recent disconnection of water services at key government facilities owing to unpaid water and electricity bills. Now, the PSA says this situation highlights an alarming financial crisis impacting on essential services and undermining public welfare. PSA KZN Provincial Manager Mlungisi Ndlovu joins us now for more. Mlungisi, a very good evening to you. Thank you for your time. Perhaps let's start with just getting an understanding of what your understanding is of the water disconnections and the impact on government services.
So in KwaZulu-Natal, we are very concerned that the water and electricity was disconnected in the Department of Health, their head office in Natal, Basic Education's Department in Pietermaritzburg, also in Public Works. So this has huge impact. You will recall that we're busy with exam and it has been disconnected. But what is disturbing most is the non-compliance by the accounting officer in terms of Section 38, subsection 1F of the Public Finance Management Act, which make it clear that the accounting officer for the department must settle all contractual obligations and pay all money owing, including intergovernmental claim, within prescribed period, which is 30 days. And it's very disturbing that it's over 12 months department are owing. So our members, they have to be released, because if there is no water and electricity, will not allow that particular situation. So what we're saying as PSA, we are very concerned, because if they can't comply with these basic obligations and be able to pay these services, we're not sure whether they will be able to pay the employees in the near future. It has happened at eThekwini, municipalities, it has happened under Zululand. That's why we are saying we're calling for a thorough audit. We want quarter and the premier to give us list of departments that are due on the list to be disconnected, because if you look at the money that is owing, it's over 700 million by different departments, including Public Works. So if they cannot be able to pay these services, which means if we get disconnected, our members will not be able to provide services. So we need to be able to deal with systematic mismanagement of funds, because if schools, for example, are disconnected because norms budget are not being allocated to schools in time, as a result, principals are forced to use some of this budget for other operational need. So it is for these reasons to say we need action. They must be able to take action. It is our responsibility as PSA to ensure accountability.
So it's not the first time that this has happened. I mean, just in August, the KZN municipality cut water to about 23 schools with over 32 million rand debt disrupting the education sector. Who do you think needs to be held accountable? Surely, at this point, an investigation should have been undertaken already.
Correctly says that these things of disconnection started many months ago, which means if government can't be able to pay services, remember that Department of Health, Department of Education, they are responsible for oversight. We are saying accounting officers must be held accountable, because if you have an accounting officer who cannot be able to pay, for example, at Health, they were able to pay 14 million. After Grace Hospital, they were unable to pay about 6.9 million. So we need accountability, because the Finance Management Act is very there. I've just quoted to you to say Section 38 is very clear that accounting officers must be able to settle their account. They are not paying the invoices on time. They can provide all the reasons. And what you have seen in the province, even budget that is allocated for compensations of employee, filling of vacant positions, they instruct department not to be able to fill those positions. We are saying, MEC of Finance, where are you? This is the time for you to be able to act. And we have that the Premier has indicated that there will be some investigation, but they need to be transparent. And also, people that are in Parliament, they should be able to question this, because our rule as PSA, we want to provide services. We don't enjoy when our members are being released. It started, and if you look at Msunduzi, you can't blame them, because they want their service to be paid, but at the same time, there is no mediations, because you cannot have two government sphere where they cannot be able to engage and ensure that they pay services, because if they disconnect, services are going to be affected. I can tell you that most of the municipalities will follow on this action. Many of the departments will be disconnected. You will find that people will not be able to access Home Affairs, they will not be able to access Department of Labor and other departments. That's why as PSA, with our finance team, we have identified this as a risk. We need action because they must be able to disclose and show us, what are they reporting to the legislature. There should be no reason for incompetence. We need them to be able to take action. And as PSA, our members has mandated us to say they must be able to take action. And we have seen the finance minister celebrating the what you call the surplus. Yet you've got departments that are struggling. And some of the contributing factors is the issue of budget cut. But they budget for these utilities. If they budget for it, why they are not paying? Why departments are failing to pay after government has given them money? Why we should go to this situation? So we are saying as PSA, accounting officers must be awake. Accounting officers must comply and pay all the suppliers. By the way, it's not only the municipalities, because suppliers, in terms of who are responsible for securities in some sections of department, where you find that they need to cut down on securities because those security companies aren't able to pay workers on time. So they must be responsible. There should be no delay. Once services has been provided, it's a very same department who deduct overpayment to our employees, our members. But when it's come for them to be able to pay, they must pay. So the premier must hold them accountable, must move with speed. But we also say the ministers that are responsible for this department, they cannot watch the movie where provinces are really struggling, and this should not be the only province in KwaZulu-Natal. We need them to be action. As PSA in the province, we are going to engage with all the MEC that are responsible, but we also want to engage the portfolio committee to say what are they doing, because they've got this report. They must be able to act. Because
in fact, it's interesting that you speak about a report, because we know that the South African Human Rights Commission inquiry into water service delivery revealed that critical infrastructure is collapsing due to rampant neglect, lack of investment, corruption, the lack of skills, and the capacity to maintain it to meet the spiraling demand, which is something that seemingly is being overlooked here.
If you look at Mkhanyabude, some of the department don't have water. Our members are expected to be released, because you cannot expect people to work in those environments. Structures need to be able to be maintained, and they must understand, people who are deployed in government, that they are not doing us a favor. It is the public servants, both public and private, who pay taxes. So we want to see the value for our money. If they cannot be able to invest properly, being able to pay for the maintenance. Some of the buildings, for example, if you look at Durban Court Magistrate, that building should have been completed long time ago in terms of maintenance. You go to Prince Mshieni, they still have asbestos. So we're asking this question. They must know that it is our responsibility to ensure that they're able to perform. But we need all the stakeholders, because we want to make sure that they've got competent people, and they must stop these things of using consultants. So accounting officers who cannot be able to do their job, they must be replaced, so that we ensure institutions are allocated budget. But the institution that expect the province to allocate budget, if they don't allocate budget, what do we expect to do? Because some of these managers, they are being told to say, you must cut down on this budget. If you look at Department of Education, for example, they can't fill position of the support staff. They've got about 17,000 in their organogram support staff, those checks that support, but they only over 8,000 positions that are vacant. So we have allowed this situation where government will put moratorium, because they are saying there is no budget, but budget is being allocated. It is for this reason that PSA is saying all the working class must be able to be united. And the Minister of Finance has make it clear, if you owe service provider, you must be able to pay. Some of the department can't even pay pay the money's dues to the employees. It is for this reason to say, let's have dialogue, because we will not allow this wasteful expenditure to continue. We must be able to engage. MECs must hold the people that report to them accountable. The Premier must hold the cabinet accountable.
Mlungisi Ndlovu, thank you very much for your time. PSA KZN Provincial Manager there, expanding on the condemnation of the disconnection of water services at key government facilities.